Welcome to HDTV. You're now rocking with your boy. Blast from the past for you guys. NFL players hated Courtland Finnegan so much that a bunch of players teamed up to pay Andre Johnson's fine after a memorable fight. Living in Nashville during those glory years for the Tennessee Titans, I remember how Courtland Finnegan would absolutely pester opposing players. The former Pro Bowl cornerback would chirp, tug on jerseys, continue to talk crap, and just do anything he could to physically and mentally break the other team's top receiver down. It often worked, but it absolutely cost Finnegan at times. One of those instances came in a game against the Houston Texans in 2010 when the loudmouth Finnegan towed away too close to the line with Texans All-Pro wideout Andre Johnson. After a few plays of some extracurricular activities between the two, namely pushing and shoving, the final result was an all-out fist fight with both Courtland Finnegan and Johnson swinging at one another before being separated and tossed. Take a look at the fight below, which they have the video. You could go look this up on YouTube for the fight between Andre Johnson and Courtland Finnegan. Even now, it's insane to think that Johnson not only swung but landed at least two solid punches on Finnegan. Like, damn, the fight still holds up even after all these years. And hands down is one of the wildest brawls between two players we've ever seen in the NFL. Well, after that, now famous Courtland Finnegan Andre Johnson fight came some fines, with both players getting a hefty 25 grand fine. While the Titans cornerback presumably paid his out of his own pocket, the Texans wideout apparently had a little help from other players around the NFL, as they too actually hated Finnegan so much that they chipped in. That's what recently retired quarterback Matt Schaub, who was Houston's starter that game, said on Barstool's Pardon My Take, with the signal caller recounting how the Pro Bowlers came to blows. And this is from Larry Brown Sports. That was a long time coming. That was probably like 2 or 3 years boiling. And it came to a head that game. Courtland was talking to our sideline, and Andre just had enough. Schaub recalled it takes a lot to rattle Andre Johnson, but you could tell it was coming in the huddle. He was telling the official when we were getting into the huddle before that play and looked at them and said something's about to happen. Schaub said the Texans called a running play, and the next thing he knew, Johnson was throwing haymakers at Finnegan. Johnson was fined for the incident, but Schaub said so many players around the NFL disliked the former cornerback that they helped cover the cost of the fine. We started getting texts from all different guys across the league that we knew, just being like, thank you, finally. Schaub said he got a little fine, but I think that got taken care of by guys all over the league and receivers all over the league. Man, that's something, isn't it? The fact that other NFL players were so happy to see the Titans cornerback get pummeled really goes to show just how much he was disliked around the league. The Courtland Finnegan Andre Johnson fight probably didn't need to happen to confirm that, but as other guys allegedly offered to pay Johnson's fine, it sort of did. Now, I remember this. I remember this fight. I remember this game. And it's like yesterday, man, because Andre Johnson to me was out of the out of University of Miami. He was a beast, man. To me, he's one of the best receivers to play the game. He just never played for a winning team. Like the Texans were so bad. David Carr was getting hurt a lot because the line was trash. The offensive line wasn't holding up. They didn't really build anything there for the Texans to succeed. And that's why a lot of Texan fans really don't like Bill O'Brien, because they finally got a top receiver like a Hopkins, and then Deshaun. He traded away Hopkins, and then traded away Jadeveon Clowney, which was dumb. Excuse me. Which was dumb. So now, looking at the situation, Courtland Finnegan was, a cornerback for the Titans. Hard nosed guy, was tough. Was a decent corner to me. He was okay. He was overrated. He just made his name. He was just famous for like taunting receivers, always going the extra mile, doing a little too much. And every time he played Andre Johnson, they were damn near about to come to blows. But Andre Johnson is real laid back. Like, if you've never met Andre Johnson, I've met Andre Johnson before. I believe I met him or I seen him before, because I played at Texas Southern and we used to play in Reliance Stadium when it was called Reliance Stadium, I believe. We used to play in there. And it used to be fun. We had to play our rival Prairie View. So Andre Johnson is very quiet, very laid back. He's a real cool dude, and he's very stocky. Andre's very stocky, and he takes no ish. So for you to push him to that point where he's beating the hell out of you, that's when I knew, okay, this guy tripping. And players paid his fine for him because they didn't like him. I believe another receiver wanted to fight him. I can't think of who the other receiver was at that time, but it was a lot of guys who did not like Courtland Finnegan because I believe he was a 5th, 6th rounder, or he was undrafted. He was one of them. He wasn't real highly sought after coming out of college. He was okay. He could play man. He made some plays, but him and Andre went at it and stuff. And, I remember because they tried to break it up and everything. And it was like everybody was watching it. The refs came in and broke it up. He wasn't ejected. Or was he ejected? I think he was just fine. I don't think he was really ejected. I don't know. I think he was ejected. But he was real pissed off, man. And Andre Johnson is a very cool dude. If you ever met him, he's very calm, very laid back, and he's a nice guy, man. Like, he's really a nice guy. Like, not an a-hole, very respectable. He's very humble, very mannerable, and that's something I like about him. He's very cool, man. Very clutch. He used to catch some big catches when they needed it. It's just that he played for bad Texan teams. And when they finally got a defense, he was old at that time. He was about done. And I believe DeAndre Hopkins came in when he was there. He took DeAndre under his wing and he helped make DeAndre a better player. Taught him how to toe tap, how to get off of blocks and everything. DeAndre Hopkins reminds me a lot of Andre Johnson in his demeanor and how he acts and how he, feels, like, man, he's laid back. That's why when Bill O'Brien said what he said, I just felt like that was very disrespectful. It was very prejudiced to me. And to me, that just goes to show you that we're never going to ever get to that point to that point being respected. But that was a little blast from the past. If you want to see the fight, man, you can go on YouTube and look it up. Like I said, Courtland Finnegan was he was a decent cornerback. Wasn't the greatest. To me, he used to get burnt a lot, especially in man. He could play the zone now. He was a good zone guy. He could read receivers, do what he has to do. He knew how to cut them off, get to spots to get a pick. But he was a one-hit wonder, man. He came and he went. I don't even think he was as good as Pac-Man, but he was okay. But thank you for listening. Like, comment, subscribe, share this. Hit the notification bell to select all to receive upcoming notifications. And if you want to donate to the page, you can cash at me at the word welcome, the number 2, and then HDIITV. Thank you for listening, and we're out. Deezy.